Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to have Cristina here. She's the founder of Cristinona, her personal brand. She's the founder of many businesses, and she's a Guatemalan born, world raised serial entrepreneur, Babson College graduate, and six-figure CEO who built her empire in under 2 years. She's the founder of Admitted, a holistic college coaching, Citizens International Retreats for Women, and Roots and Routes, a transformative summer program for teens, and also Intuition podcast, right? Her personal brand, Cristinona, is a very famous brand, and I want to talk about her mission today, and she's going to share with us all her journey building all her businesses and how she has used entrepreneurship as a force for good. And behind all that success is a woman who healed herself through nutrition, survived a spinal fracture that forced her to finally listen to her soul, and turned her Instagram public in August of 2021 with nothing but her stories and her truth. So, hi, Cristina, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for this lovely introduction. I think you nailed it. So honored to be here and share a little bit of my journey. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for being here. So, we're gonna jump into some questions about your journey. So, Christina, talk to me a little bit. Take me back to before Cristinana existed as a brand. Who were you as a teenager growing up in Guatemala City?
So I'm the youngest of two older sisters. We're three sisters and we're get along as best friends. So I think that shaped me because I had them as an example. And I think like when you have the same gender and you're three, the little one is always like a little bit more extroverted, more leader, more loud. And I was that girl since I was little. Like my sisters would be like, um, afraid to ask like the waiters for extra spoons. So they would like send me, even though I was the youngest, like, can you ask the waiter for an extra spoon? So I was very bold, very outgoing. Like I would sit down in social events and like talk to the older people and I was like super young. So that was a little bit when I was younger. As a teen, I was very diligent about my academic studies. I feel that that was a refuge for everything that was happening at home. I found like a solace inside being an excellent student. So that shaped a lot of my work ethic before high school. I wasn't that good of a student. And later on, I like rose to the top of my grade, of my class. Um, and as a teen, I was very active and like ever like in high school I had three businesses. Um and I'll tell you the story later, but I was always very active. Like I've been entrepreneuring since I'm 15, and I believe that the fact that I was like bit by the travel bug and always with a craving to get to know the world and its people and being raised as a global citizen gave me this desire to be like financially free so I could like afford all my trips. So as a teenager, yeah, I was locked in school, very social, um, and traveling everywhere.
I love that. Yeah, I've seen that you love to travel. I also love to travel, so I enjoy your trips when you share them on Instagram. And I was looking into your story and I found that you spent every summer from age 11 to 18 at international camps and programs, meeting people from all over the world. So these are the trips you were telling me about during your teenage years, right?
So I was super fortunate and forever grateful to have the opportunity to go to these different summer programs and camps. I went to a 3-year military camp in the middle of the cornfields of Indiana. where it's like a leadership lab. Everything is built around creating leaders. So everything you do around like military base, like it's to create leaders. So that really shaped me a lot. I was able to grow as a leader and like strengthen my values and my friendships. I also went to Morocco at age 16. I don't know how my parents just let me go everywhere. But I went to Morocco for a adventure and community service trip. So that was so cool. I was so young and we went to the Sahara Desert. It was so cool. And I also went to Georgetown for a business and leadership academy for 3 weeks to discover what area of business I wanted to hone into. And then my senior year of high school, I went to a 4 week summer program in Southeast Asia, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And these summer programs were essential to my becoming. Like I think that that's what made me a citizen of the world. I consider myself like the world my home. Like, yes, I was born and raised in Guatemala, but I feel at home in so many foreign countries. And being able to attend these programs gifted me with the best lifelong friendships and values and hunger for the world and like feeling embracing the differences and similarities between different cultures. So that actually gave me more reasons to travel because I would have like friends all over the world, especially Latin America. So I would like want to go to their prom, graduation. I would like to go like surprise them for their birthday, or I mentioned my sisters because they were in college when I was in high school, so I would like to visit them. So all of these trips, like besides my summer programs that were rooted between my sisters and my friendships from summer programs, is what made me realize like I have to have my own money so I can travel and see all of these people that I love.
I love that. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's amazing what you just shared, you know. Personally, I also think that the friends you meet outside your country are friends that you have a different connection. It's a different level of connection, and that's amazing that you got to be able to meet so many amazing people. Talk to me a little bit about your journey into getting into Babson College. How was that? You know, I was doing my research and it's like one of the top entrepreneurship schools, right? They actually make people get into this entrepreneur mindset. And I think it's a huge deal. What was the moment like when you got in? And be honest. Did you feel like you belong? Did you feel like, oh my gosh, this is me? Did you ever feel like the syndrome came to you? Or you were like, no, this is me. You know, this is for me. Let's go.
I love the question. So actually, few people know this, but when I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to study. So everyone was choosing their major and I had no idea what major I wanted to study. Like in my sisters and my friends would always joke around that I was like the girl with no talent because I didn't engage in any sport. Like everyone was doing like dance and soccer and like being in the national team of baseball, whatever. And I was never like sporty. And they would like joke like the only instrument that I can play is like the doorbell. That's like was like a running joke.
Wow.
And that my I had already started my businesses, but I hadn't realized that that was entrepreneurship. And my dad sat me down and told me like, of course you have talents, you have many talents, and one of them is building businesses. Like what you're doing is entrepreneurship and there's a school for that. Before before realizing that entrepreneurship was a major and that I could like pursue that career, I actually wanted to study theater and not theater, like acting. So
Wow.
I hired a college counselor and my first college list was acting and cinematography schools, which I laugh about now, but like I was always super social. So I would like see Pretty Little Liars and One Tree Hill and all these series, and I would like picture myself becoming best friends with a cast. So I was like, I want to be an actress, not only because I'm like super outgoing, whatever, but I want to like become best friends with the cast and like have this friendship that I saw like the girls in Pretty Little Liars have backstage and whatever. And then I was going to go between my junior and senior year of high school to a acting summer program. And literally after my dad told me this, I like pivoted, told my college counselor, like, change, like, let's change direction. And I applied to Georgetown for the business and leadership lab. And we, like, I was like in the wait list because it was like so late to the process, and I ended up getting in. And yeah, that changed everything. I went to this program and it was super cool because they had professors from Georgetown every day from a different area of business teach us like real estate, like accounting, entrepreneurship, whatever, marketing. So we could get like a taste of the major. And then that's where I decided like I want to build businesses and this all creative part of business. So I ended up applying to 11 schools. I again found like a safe haven in my academics. So I was like super nerdy and doing everything. I did the SAT 6 times to perfect my score. And that actually opened many doors. So I got into almost all my schools and got scholarships to like six out of nine of the schools I got in. And yeah, I actually wasn't going to go to Babson at first. Had other more prestigious options, but I got like a really good merit scholarship to Babson. So I thought it was like the perfect mix of prestigious and, well, having the scholarship, which I could like help my family and like give back to them. And so, yeah, that was a hard choice, like letting down my other schools. Um, because like people in my grade, in my class would be like, oh my God, like you took the space for us, like you're not going to these prestigious schools. And that made me feel bad. But at the end of the day, I followed my heart. Like I always saw myself in Babson. My older sister went to Babson. So I knew the campus. I had interviewed and everything. And I wanted a school that was more innovative and forward thinking and technology oriented and like creativity mindset. And I felt the other schools were a bit more business traditional. So yeah, I followed my heart as many times in my life and ended up going to Babson. So yeah. And no, I didn't have imposter syndrome. I felt like I was in the exact place I needed to be. And looking back, I think I made the best choice.
Wow, I love that. I definitely think the college we choose shapes us for our entire lives. So I think that's very important for us to choose wisely and if not to change, right? Like actually, I studied my first year of college in one college and then I switched to another one because I knew that what I was studying was not for me. So yeah, I completely understand that you need to listen to your heart and go for what you want to do and that you'll be fine. Like whatever you choose will be okay because you're trusting yourself, your gut, your intuition, right? And what you know what's best for you in your career. And so talking a little bit about the international experiences, you also took a semester at sea, right? What was that experience like? You crossed the Pacific and Indian Oceans, visited countries. But I want to ask you a question about this trip. What was the moment on that trip that actually changed something inside you permanently? Because I'm pretty sure, like, being abroad for so long at sea, there has to be something, deeper than just the experience itself.
Mhm. I love this question. I feel I haven't shared about semester at sea in any other interview, and it's hands down been the best experience I've had in my life. And sometimes I'm scared that it's gonna, like, I peak there and it's not, I'm not gonna have any other experience as cool as that one because, like, when do you get to cross the world in a ship with your best friends? So it was actually very interesting because I dreamed of going on semester at sea ever since my sister's friend, who's also named is Cristina and also went to Georgetown. So I like really looked up to her and like was like following her path. And she went to semester at sea in 2012 and I went to semester at sea in 2021. So I had been dreaming of this for the longest time. And um, I would like find out a lot of people that went during those years, and I was like obsessed with the idea of going. Honestly, there's never something I have forced more than going to semester at sea. Like I had to like take a leave of absence from my school. They revoked my visa. I had to break the lease of my apartment, put everything in storage, like had my friend borrow my car for the semester and like park it in his house. And I just like never forced something. But that's what I think like in life, not always everything's gonna flow. Like sometimes you have to like fight for what you want. Because I feel like seen a lot of like narrative that if it's meant to be, it flows, it feels at ease, it feels calm. And like, honestly, like I've never forced something more in my life. And it was the best experience ever. So at the beginning, like my parents weren't that keen for me going. And I applied like behind their back and got a scholarship. And then they ended up letting me go. So I feel like that shows a lot of my personality of like not taking no for an answer and going going forward with what I dream most. Um, so the thing is that I went on semester at sea in January of 2020. So we were hit with the pandemic. So we were like escaping COVID. Like we started January in San Diego and then crossed the Pacific Ocean, stopped in Hawaii, and then went to Japan. And then we were going to go to China like January 30th. And then they said, like, no, we're going to skip it because of COVID. And then we went to Vietnam and we were supposed to go to Malaysia and India. They canceled it because of COVID. Then they added a new country, which was Seychelles. We were already packed, everything planned for Seychelles. And then the day before they canceled, they didn't let cruises come into the island. So we didn't end up going. Then we were going to go to Mozambique, which was a new country. The same thing happened like the day before, they didn't let us in. So then we went to South Africa, Cape Town, and they dropped us off and told us, which was like March 14th, like global lockdown, and then said, you have to fly home. And we were also supposed to go to Ghana, Morocco, and end in Amsterdam. So literally like 4 continents. To be honest, it was heartbreaking to not be able to complete the trip that I like longed for so much. But in a way, not in a way, like I am positive, like I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like when else am I going to be escaping a global pandemic in a cruise? Like I absolutely loved every bit of it. And like going through that shared grief with my friends, like made us closer. I made my closest friends to date in semester at sea. I feel like I always said, like I said in a caption in my Instagram, like I didn't go to 11 countries, but I made 11 friends because we were 11 friends, like 12 counting me. So that was epic. And to answer your question, what was like life tempting of semester at sea other than like eating nigiris in Japan and like going um kayaking or whatever in Vietnam? Like that was amazing, but like the best part of semester at sea was my time at sea. Like we didn't have service, so it was like the only thing you could send to your parents was like email, that they called it sea mail, and we didn't have any way to communicate with the people on the ship. And it was amazing, like so much presence in the moment. I feel like we were there for like 2 months and a half, but it was actually more because, first of all, we woke up super early to see like the sunrise, went to bed late. So, like, the day was longer. We didn't have to drive to school. We didn't have to like make our bed. We didn't have to cook food, like everything. It's like a hotel. So, like, I didn't lose time doing those things. So there was just such an abundance of time to be present, to connect. There were like 575 students ages 18 to 24. just wanting to make friends. So like the level of friendship, like I think I'm never gonna get again, because when else am I gonna be stranded at sea for 20 days straight? We were twice at sea for 20 days straight, and that for me was my favorite part of the semester.
Wow, yeah, it's an amazing experience. And like you said, I feel like the friends you make in college, in school, they're never the same as when you're adult because you spend so much time with these people that they become part of your family and they become part of who you are. So thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. I think that you're very lucky to meet these 11 friends, like you said. Maybe you didn't, get to know all these cities you were meant to, but I mean, eventually you will, and I'm pretty sure you already did. So, so that's great, Christina. So, well, um, I wanted to ask something a little bit more. You've been opening your heart to us, and I thank you so much for that. And tell me a little bit about your health journey. You were diagnosed with IBS during college, and then later you fractured a vertebra in your spine, and you were on bed rest, right, for like 6 weeks. So I want to ask you something that maybe most people don't ask. As you've seen, I actually make different questions. I like to dig. I like to get to know people. What was actually going through you know, in your mind, in those quiet, for still moments?
Thank you for the question. Happy to share. So, yes, my health journey started after I got IBS. Um, for anyone who doesn't know, it stands for irritable bowel syndrome. So I had like an inflammation in my colon descendiente. I don't know how to say it in English, like the left part of the colon.
Uh-huh.
So that actually prompted me to start healing, like physically and emotionally, because a lot of emotions are stored in our gut. It's like they call it our second brain. And I had gone through an eating disorder in college that actually caused the IBS, because I was so scared to eat that like those emotions went to my gut. So I started this emotional and physical process. I actually took a semester off in senior year of college to enroll in the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where I got certified to be a holistic health coach. So I was like healing myself while going through this course, which was super cool. And then on my spring semester of senior year, I fractured a vertebra in my spine. So being without mobility was so tough for me, because I'm always up and down, as you can see. I don't have a routine. Like every day is different. Every day is so interesting. I jump up and down. Eh, I love my life that way. And like not being able to shower and go to the bathroom and literally be still for so long was so difficult. But honestly, like I had a really positive mindset through those days. I felt like a superhero, like going through this and like conquering it with a positive mindset, which looking back, I think was a little harmful, because it made me like not feel the grief that I had lost not going to my senior year of college. I had to finish school in bed. So but that actually, again, I found like a safe haven in my academics. Like people were like, oh my God, you have so much time. You're probably gonna like learn a new language or write a book or whatever. And I like didn't do any of that. I focused myself on like getting straight A's for my last semester, because I wanted to graduate like with the highest honors. And that's what I did. I was overloading classes because I had taken a semester off for my holistic health coaching program. So I was like overloading and like going to class, turning my camera on in bed, and like people that didn't know me would like chat me through the class chat, like what are you doing? And I was like, in bed rest, whatever. And yeah, I found like a lot of resilience came out of it. I ended up graduating with the title that I wanted. And yeah, what was going through my mind was like, keep on going. And I wasn't going to drop the ball on my academics the last semester. So I'm super proud that I kept going.
I love that. Well, I just want to say that it takes real courage to sit with. And I think so many women listening right now have felt the exact, kind of way. Sometimes health happens, health issues happen. And I think it's very brave what you did. You didn't give up. You kept going. And I think that's very important because, sometimes something happens in our lives and we just give up and we don't finish college. And I think that's something that no one should do. Like if you're struggling with something, like no matter what, like when it's the time, right? Like finish college, that you didn't like just leave it. You actually finished and with straight A's. So congratulations on that. And so tell me a little bit on August 1st, 2021. You switch your Instagram from private to public and started sharing your stories. Walk me through that day. What was the moment where you almost didn't do it? Like, what was that first spark that told you, I should open my Instagram? I have something to share. I want to share my story.
Love this question. So actually, I had been wanting to share my story for like a year and a half prior in the pandemic. A lot of people were opening up about things because, the pandemic stirred us up a lot like a snowball, and like things came flourishing up of like the darkness and the grief and the pain and whatever. So I had gone through my eating disorder, which was like taking over my life during the pandemic and the year before the pandemic. So I wanted to share my story. I wanted to share how I was healing, and I didn't have the courage to do so. I waited and waited and waited for the perfect moment, which the perfect moment doesn't really come ever. And I actually wrote this in my journal that I launched, that before I fractured my spine, my soul was already fractured, because I believe that when you have a dream in your heart and you don't execute on it, like your soul is fractured. So I wrote that and said, like, that was for me waiting for the perfect moment, seeing other people, other friends come clean with their story and like their entrepreneurship and their creative projects and passion projects. And I wasn't doing it. It like crushed my soul. So I was fed up of saying I was going to do it. And literally, like, I asked my sister to take like a cool picture in Antigua, which is the colonial city in Guatemala. And I didn't like how I came in the picture. Like it felt super forced. So I was like, you know what? I don't need like a cool picture. I like sat down and with sneakers, like yoga leggings and a sweater. And I took a selfie in the mirror of my house. And that's what I uploaded. Like I archived all my pictures, which I had a really cool travel Instagram before. So I archived all of my pictures prior, which I had opened my Instagram like in 2010 or 2012. So it was like 8 years of content that I archived. And I wanted to symbolize like a rebirth. Like, this is me, it's my same account. I'm not making a new one. But it's with a new perspective and a new me, and like being reborn after the fracture and after everything I had been through. So yeah, it was an exciting day. I loved that day, and it's been in this August, it's 5 years. Crazy.
Wow. Are you gonna celebrate that day?
I always celebrate. But yeah, for sure, I'll do something.
Wow, it's been 5 years. I love that. I also remember my first day when I opened my business account. And yeah, I posted my first logo made by me. It was the most, basic logo, but it got me here. So I think that first step is definitely like crucial to get where you are. And I admired you for that. So talking a little bit about entrepreneurship, right? Tell me about a time when you tried something and it didn't work. That first project that you were like, oh, this is going to work. And well, it didn't. Sometimes in entrepreneurship, this happens a lot. Like first businesses or first ideas are just the literally first step for something that will become something greater and in the future. So tell me a little bit about that.
For sure. So in high school, I had three businesses. They were a little bit like cuter businesses, not that serious. But I had a bakery where I used my mom's tres leches recipe, like sold it to all the moms and like my friends' moms and whatever. So that went really well. That's what gave me like most of my financial liberty through high school to do all my travels. Then I had a day camp, a winter break day camp with my best friend Natalia, which was called NNC's Day Camp for our initials. And we would entertain babies or children from ages 2 to 12, which I still don't know how parents trusted us with their living humans at age 16 or whatever. But we ended up doing that for a couple of years. That went great. And then I had a tutoring business called Tutoring to Go, where I would go to my friends' houses and like give them tutoring on any subject. So that also went great. So actually, my first businesses were a success. Then I had Cristinona, which is my personal brand, where I started to do manifestation workshops. Went great. Then I had my Admitted started a few months after I opened my Instagram, which was which is a I'll tell you more later, but it's a bridge between traditional college counseling and the modern world of like holistic health. That went great. But then I launched Intuition, which like I just love launching things. Like sometimes I'm better at launching than actually like making the business survive is what I've come to realize. So I launched Intuition, which was um, a podcast, a newsletter, a mindset, a vibe. So I launched my podcast, um, a newsletter in Substack, and then I wanted to do merch. So I love loungewear. I love traveling in like a cute set of pants and a hoodie. I have a million, and then I wanted a brand of those loungewear sets, like a streetwear brand. So I made the branding. It took us forever to come with the logo because I wanted it to be like cool and like not feminine, but like badass and bold and like cool and like the sets were like black and white, and it was like it like the purpose was like follow your intuition, but um on a bolder way, like not on a sometimes we hear intuition and we feel like it's romantic and like feminine, and like I wanted to like make it a little bit more bold. And I made the mistake of like not quoting different people. Like I went with this company that is an amazing company, but like I didn't realize like the price was too high for me. Like the my cost was too high and I didn't compare it because I'm very impulsive, which is amazing because it has gotten me far. But like in this scenario, like I love the company. It was like one of the best companies in Guatemala, and like the cost was super high. So like in fashion, like if you want to sell something for double the price, like it was very expensive, the pants, the set. And for like starting a brand, like I wasn't Lululemon to be like selling my things at that price. So I launched, and I remember I did this whole photo shoot and video and everything. And I remember like not getting sales. And I sent it to my best friends from Semester at Sea, which I love and adore them, and they love and adore me back. Like I was gonna see them in Spain the next week. So I was like, guys, send me your orders. Like I'll send it to you. And like no one made an order. And I was crushed. Like I had invested so much time, love, passion, creativity, energy, and money to this business. Like I had ordered 130 sets, and like it was the first day and I hadn't sold anything. So that was crushing. Um to this day, I think I sold like 30 in total. They're sitting in my storage room, and I'm gonna like donate them to this nonprofit in El Salvador for like women in positive psychology. So I've let that go of that idea. And I feel like I'm better at selling like services and like workshops than actual products, like physical products. Like it's harder for me. So yeah, that's I think is like one of like my biggest failures. Like obviously I learned a lot, so it's not a failure and like it taught me a lot. But like I have 100 sets in my storage room. So I also feel like I didn't keep going in that business. Like when my friends didn't purchase a set, I was so depleted that like I gave the business like okay, it failed. Like I didn't keep going, like I don't know, going okay, I went to a pop-up because I was like I need to do something different. I went to a pop-up for like this wellness pop-up and like I took all my sets and like rented a table, like a tablecloth, everything, and like I didn't sell one set. So like I feel like after those experiences, I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll switch business. I'll take the loss and I won't continue selling. And I feel like I could have like pushed more and like maybe lower the price or increase my posting or whatever. And I didn't. So I feel like it failed, but I also like gave up on it early, which is fine. Like sometimes you switch projects. And yeah, not every project is going to be as successful as my other projects, but yeah, I'm a little sad that I didn't sell the product that I spent so much working on.
Oh my gosh, I completely understand that feeling when you pour your heart into one project and you're like, oh, this is so good. And then there's just like crickets, and you're like, what is going on? Why does anybody like see the value in this? And it's really tough to accept that, yeah, some ideas, some businesses might just not work. Or like you said, like it's not working and you also don't push further, and it's kind of like, a mix of like not making enough effort, but also like this is not like selling, people are not like willing to buy it, so it's a mix of a lot of things. And I think like part of like building a business is that, right? Like also understanding and accepting failure, and it's like, okay, let's move on. What's the next thing I'm gonna build? And that's what I talk about now. Like, what is the next thing you build after this? So you told me about that you're so good at like selling. It's more like services, and you did this health coach program. So you were already seeing that this was your strength, right? Um, Tell me a little bit about that. Like, when was the first time you actually gave your first workshop or you offer your first service? How did you come up with the concept of your business, the businesses that you have now?
So I opened my Instagram in August, and I started posting my story and I started being active on stories and Instagram stories. And I started sharing like my journal and my manifestations. And I started getting like a lot of messages like, does that work? Is that real? Like, how do you do it? Show us, whatever. And I was like, bingo. Like, I love teaching. When I was young, I wanted to be a teacher and I love talking. So I was like, perfect. I'll do a workshop of manifestation and expansion. It was called Manifestation and Expansion Workshop Co Creating Your Future. And I launched that workshop like 3 months after I launched my Instagram, and 77 people came to the workshop. So I was like, this is insane. This is amazing. I launched that January, so 2 months after, and 120 people came. So it was like a huge success. And that's where the idea came from as of my college coaching business. So fun fact, like when I was doing my college process, I like loved my process so much. Like even though it's super stressful for some people, like yes, it was stressful for me too, but I love the experience of like working hard towards a goal and like getting it. So achieving it. So I like since I was in high school, I said like someday I'm gonna be a college counselor. But to be honest, like I never nourished that dream. Like I forgot about it. And then I I graduated in May and I took the summer off to like have therapy for my back. So I did more than 80 sessions of physical therapy. So I took the summer off for that. And then it was time to like, my friends had jobs in Miami, Madrid, and New York, and all these fun stuff. And I was like jobless and I was running out of savings because I had used my savings to like sustain me during my summer. And I was like, okay, I need to make fast cash. I made a list of like my skills, passions, talents, gifts, and one of them was creative writing. Um, I like wrote captions here and there, but like I've never like actually like done something with it other than like publishing my Instagram and my college essays, which there's when I found out another fun fact when I did my college essays is that I found out that I had a gift for that because before 18 I had never done creative writing. So I made a list and I wrote down one of my skills is creative writing and I wrote down ideas of what I could do with it. So one of them was write a book and I was like, I'm not going to write a book right now. Like I want to do that in my lifetime, but not right now. And then I wrote edit college essays. I was like, people already know how I write through my Instagram. It's been like 3 months or 2 months and they'll trust me like with their younger siblings' essays and whatever. And then comes the luck factor and like the more majestic factor. I got a call from one of my best friends from Semester at Sea telling me that her brother wanted to transfer from Monterrey's Tec de Monterrey, which is a really good school in Monterrey, Mexico, to Boston, and if I could help him. So I was like, I totally made this up in the moment, but I was like, yeah, I'm actually starting my college counseling business. Like, he can be my first client. I can give you a good discount. He can be my guinea pig, like whatever. And yeah, he was my first client. And then I made like a Canva, like a PDF of like my designs. My best friend Natalia from the summer day camp did the branding, and I sent it to my mom's friend who was the mother of a senior in high school. So she sent it to like the moms, and then I got four more clients. So that was my first year. I got five clients, and then now I have 48. So it's been 5 years. So it's been growing. And then I started doing retreats, wellness retreats, um, which is my passion project. I love wellness and I love impacting lives. So it all actually goes very well with my persona, like planning trips. I always love planning trips. Like my parents raised us to be hosts, like we're the best hosts. My parents always host Christmas and um my mom is super like detail oriented and she'll make like heart-shaped pancakes for Valentine's Day and whatever. And we've all turned out to be super detail oriented and like the hosts of every party and whatever. So I like use that to make retreats, like my planning execution, like quoting, like suppliers, whatever. And now I've made five wellness retreats so far. And yeah, the last one is Roots and Routes, um, which is new. It will be because we haven't done it yet. A transformative summer experience for high school students, which I feel blends perfectly like my love for high school students and my love for like planning retreats because we're planning like a summer program. But another fact is that we were going to do it this year. And I like the body keeps the score. I was like very stressed and with the retreat and all my students and everything. So I told my business partner, like, let's move it to next year. Like, it's too much. And I feel like sometimes you have to make those decisions. People tell me like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, not necessarily I do it all. Like I have certain things I prioritize. And right now I'm prioritizing my college coaching business, which is growing, thankfully. And yeah, that's a little bit of all my projects.
I love that. Wow. And I love that all of your projects are are you. Like they're all a part of you. Like you are not like building something completely, different from who you are or what you've experienced in life. And I think that when you build projects based on who you are, what you love and like what you're really good at and everything, they're gonna be just like way more successful than when you're trying to build something from a place where you don't even like what you're building, you know? You're like doing it for the wrong reasons, for example, but you are the contrary, like you are building from purpose. And I love building from purpose. Like I feel like that's like the way to go, at least for me. Like that's how the way I feel, and I think that you also build like that. So, talking a little bit about money, you know, we need to talk about money. I feel like us girls, entrepreneurs, we don't talk enough about money. Don't you feel like that? We
For
need to
sure.
share more. Like, how much are you making? How much should you charge for this? How much should I charge for this? Like, we need to talk about money. And you becoming a six-figure CEO in under 2 years sounds incredible from the outside. Of course, like you were saying, like you were doing all these projects and everything. And of course, you have to prioritize when you can't just build everything at once. But what does no one see from the inside of that journey? Because there's a lot of things I know that um, it's not that easy. You know, it's not as nice as it seems. You know, there's like ups and downs. So, what do you think about that?
So what no one knows is that, well, a few people know, I guess. But what no one sees is that I had a really bad relationship with money during college. Um, I would spend more than I had. I would like had always, instead of like paying my credit card in advance and using that money to like live that month, I would like spend all the money, and then the next month I would have to pay it, and like always in a backward, like 1 month behind. Um I had a really bad relationship with money. I didn't save money. I didn't I like resented it. I um didn't like to do like adulthood paperwork and all those things you need to do like adulting. And I was always like in debt. Like always spending more than I had, and having to ask my sisters like if they can send me money to like pay my credit card. And yeah. Um I healed my relationship with money. I actually read a few books and podcasts and took a course on like manifestation with money. And yeah, I feel like I have a really good relationship right now. And I feel that that's what no one talks about. Like I had always been doing entrepreneurship things, but like the way I related to money wasn't the best way. And then I feel like when I healed my relationship with money, like everything escalated. And it keeps on growing. Like what I made the first year of my college coaching is what I make monthly now. So I feel that uh, I actually like want to help more people, more women especially, to heal their relationship with money. I actually had a course called Enriching, which is to heal your relationship with money. I did it, I think, two or three times, two or three editions. I kind of stopped doing courses just because I was focused on other things. Because, you know, I want to do it all, but I can't. Or at least I can do it all, but not at the same time. So literally last week I did a Q&A, and someone said like bring your courses back. So I'm thinking of bringing them back, especially with all the knowledge I have now. But if I can add one thing, I think you need to have expanders. So in manifestation, expanders is people that you look up to, whether you know them or not, that expand your point of view, expand your dreams, expand your desires. And I have this expander that actually does like a lot of courses on um healing your relationship with money. And she has a multi-million dollar business. And she's from Ecuador, so like Latina like me. She went to school in the US. Like we have a lot of similarities. And she's, I think, like 32, so like she started really young. And she would talk about money openly, like how much she makes, how much her first course cost, her first business. And she said, like, I wrote down in a paper, told absolutely no one, that I wanted to have $1 million before I turned 30. And she did. So, like, after I saw that, I was like 23. And I was like, okay, I am gonna write down my dream, which is having $100,000 business before I turned 25. And I grabbed a dollar bill and I added like the zeros to it and framed it in my room. And I actually told my first manifestation course, um, first manifestation workshop attendees, I told them like, this is like my dream. This is what I want to. So I feel it was like really cool for them to see me like from the start. Sometimes we see the success story after it happens, not like the actual yearning for something to happen. So I had the dream, and then literally like 6 months before turning 25, I like made it to six figures. And yeah, now I have the goals like a million before 30. We'll see. I have 2 years and a half. So I'm not sure if I'll make it, but we're getting close. And yeah.
Wow, yeah, I love that. I do think that it's important for us to talk about money, and I do think like being inspired by others by their journey definitely helps us get there as well. You know, it's like, oh, if they did it, why can't I be that person as well, right? And let's talk a little bit about these different paths. You know, you've done a lot of different things. You have ventures that seem so different from each other, right? You do the college coaching, women's retreat, teen travel programs, the streetwear brand, a podcast. How do you actually know what you're good at? What would you say to someone how to find that? If they're like looking everywhere outside, how to discover it or how to decide if something's for them or not.
Mhm. So I would tell them two things. The first one is sit down and make a list of today what skills, talents, passions, gifts you have, and brainstorm not monumental business ideas, like fast cash ideas of like things you could do it to start. And then my second thing is I would say like pick one and start. So like a good example that I have is one of my best friends. She studied in culinary school. So during the pandemic, she was like stuck in Guatemala and she started selling this like a Spanish cheesecake, like Basque cheesecake, and it became like super famous in Guate, and like it became super successful. But she started doing all the Instagram for the cheesecake. So like she would take pictures of it and like had a really beautiful Instagram. And then she started developing this love for food photography. So she took a course in food photography. She started taking freelance clients. She was actually took um photos of my bakery, and she started getting all these clients in pandemic because everyone was cooking and baking and taking pictures of restaurants and whatever. And then she found her love for like marketing, so she went to Spain to take a master's in marketing, and now she has her own business of like making social media content and branding for other businesses. So like what stemmed from like she studied in culinary school, now she doesn't do anything with food, but like you don't find out what you're good at and where you're going to end up at the beginning. You have to start with something. Like I had no idea I was going to do a manifestation course. I started with one post, which took me a year and a half to do it. I started with one post a week for 6 weeks, and I didn't post stories because I was too ashamed. Until my 6th week I started posting stories. And then people started asking me like, what is this? And then I did my workshop, and then I did the list, and I got my first college counseling client. And then like things, once you take, they're called stepping stones. So like once you take a step, like the next step is going to be bigger and it's going to feel smaller. But the first step is the hardest. But once you conquer that, like I feel like doors open. Like my first retreat, I got contacted by this influencer that she told me like, oh, can you plan this for me? And then the second retreat, another influencer said, oh, I wanted to. And then I started making my own retreats. And then my business partner for the teen summer program told me like, oh, I'm also in the college counseling space. I have this dream of doing a summer program. I think you'll be the perfect partner. So like opportunities start arising once you take the bold steps.
Love that. I completely agree. I love that. I feel like a lot of women were just, trying to get there. It's not easy, to find what you are really good at and keep going. Sometimes we kind of see that we're good at something, but we don't practice it enough. So we don't get to a point where we are like, oh, yeah, this could be a business or not. But what I like the most of what you said is, yeah, follow your purpose. Like, understand what you're really good at and do that. Like, do not force it. Sometimes there's certain things to force, like your trip to the sea, but there's other things that we don't necessarily need to do that. Sometimes what the answers are in front of you, like, there's no crazy place to go to find them. And we're almost about to finish, but what is one belief about women and success that you will love to shatter completely, and start giving like our the final messages to on this podcast?
I would like more women to know that if we have the power to create life, we have the power of creativity in business form. So, right now, I'm not a mother, but I'm a mother to so many businesses. And yeah, we are these creatures that are able to like carry human life in our womb. We are able to create and give birth to our ideas. And I think it's so important to have financial independence and to be able to say no, especially in a marriage. Like, I want to be married forever, but in any case, like, I want to leave my husband. I want to have that financial liberty um, to say no and leave instead of staying in a partnership that I'm not okay with just because I don't have money, which I've seen growing up. So, um, yeah, I would say that. I don't know if that answers the question because I'm not shattering specifically, but of course, I think what I just said, what I'm shattering is the belief that we need to be dependent of a man and that we don't have the same business skill as a man. Like what you were saying, like women don't talk about money. Like we always delegate that money talk to a man. And so yeah, I want to inspire more women. I don't share my story to brag, especially when I share things about money. I've always been rooted in like part of that is humility, but like um my story is helping other women dream big, heal their relationship with money, execute, and that for me is priceless.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that. And before we finish, I got two more questions. First, what's next for the Nanaverse? Where is Cristinona going?
I love this question. Um so actually less than a year ago, I took a break from social media. Just, I was going through a lot of stuff and I wasn't sure how I wanted to show up. And I thought a break would be good. And I stopped sharing for like 8 months or 10 months. And I actually have decided that I love sharing, that Instagram can be a really expansive place to be. I've met so many amazing humans. It has led me to so many amazing opportunities. I love sharing my story. And maybe I'm not going to share in the same way as before, but I feel that my story was meant for the world. And I've always known that ever since before I started my Instagram. So, what's next is that I want to reactivate Cristinona more. I had kind of put it under the rug. So, be more active in stories and well, literally last week or the week before that, I said that I want to be more active. I got two podcast interviews, one of them being this one, which I'm so honored. So I feel like I'm attracting the opportunities. And yeah, I want to be more active and like start doing more workshops and yeah, in the retreat world, like we're gonna do things differently now. So I'm excited to see how the retreat scenario in my life evolves and then keep growing admitted. I feel like that's my biggest responsibility. It's growing every day. And I have all these futures of these teenagers, young adults in my hands. So I want to kill it, crush it, and be really good at it before I start doing other things.
Yeah, I love that. Wow. I definitely agree with you. Social media is it's hard. It's hard to be on social media. It's a full-time job basically, but it opens a lot of opportunities, and I think yeah, once you're there and you put yourself out there, you can meet a lot of people. Like we previously met each other, but not exactly. So this is like our official meeting.
Maybe you can tell the world listening where we met.
Yeah, so we actually met a few years ago when Cristina was actually a panelist on this creative morning event. So a creative morning event happens once a month. It happens in several cities around the world, and people talk about something they're passionate about, and she actually talked about money. So
Yes.
maybe there will be a second part of this podcast where we actually just talk about money. That will be very interesting. But yeah, that's how we met. And I just remember I was so nervous because I was like not exactly I'm very shy, and until now I actually got to, step out of my comfort zone and meet more people. So I was like, I'm just gonna go talk to her, like, and I just, came to you and I was like, hi, nice to meet you. I love you. I like what you said, whatever. And you were like so kind. You even gave me a hug and I was like, oh, that's so nice. So yeah, we that happened like 3 years ago or more. I think that was a long time ago. So I love that you've grown so much. You definitely are, a very creative founder, and I love that. We need more women creative founders in this world, and I think that what you're doing is also super valuable, helping more people to go to college and coaching them and pursuing their dreams, and also through your programs and everything. I really love that about you. And I admire you a lot. So thank you for this meeting, and I look forward to maybe doing a second part in the future or anything. So yeah, and I have one last question, which is for the creatives who are watching us, what is the message you will give? Because sometimes as creatives, we're very like stubborn or stuck, and we're so nervous about start creating. We just create, like, we're so creative, but we like keep everything to ourselves, and we don't want to share, and we don't want to go to social media, or, just like take the first step and like see what is going to happen with the ideas we have and share them to the world. So, what would you say to these shy entrepreneurs who are creative out to the world?
Well, I get this question a lot, like, how do I stop like giving a beep? So people ask me this, and I actually made a podcast that that was called like how do you give an F?
Awesome.
And um, stepping stones, taking one brave, bold step at a time. Like at the beginning, posting one post took me a year and a half, and now I share like really vulnerable things on the internet. And yeah, one thing leads to the other. And I would say, like, what is worth more? Like hiding in a shell and not sharing your gifts and fulfilling your dreams and living a life with purpose, or then discomfort of getting out of your comfort zone and actually doing the work. Like sometimes we think people are paying so much attention to us and what we're doing, and like people are focused on themselves, and people will always talk. So like right now, it doesn't scare me to be cringe or to be uh, to accept that I had a couple of businesses fail. Right now, I just want to like create purpose, alignment, intention, and intuition.
Love that. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank
Um,
you.
Thank you for sharing so much. I loved your story, and thank you for opening your heart. You're talking to us about your experiences, all the things you've been through. So yeah. Thank you so much. This is it.
Thank you for having me and wish you the best with this project.
Thank you so much.